Is the America we know being quietly reshaped under our very noses? And if so, could the fingerprints of an old adversary be tracing the blueprints? Join me today as we delve into a narrative that's as unsettling as it is compelling: the hijacking of the left by communism. In our story today, there are no guaranteed happy endings. This isn't Hollywood, it's the real world. And you, my fellow Americans, are part of this unfolding drama. Let's set the stage with some chilling context. History is a great teacher, yet it seems we've skipped some of its hardest lessons. Americans under the age of 25 are more likely to vote for communism than they are capitalism. What are we missing? Historical context. They don't teach it in school anymore. The 20th century was the bloodiest in human history, with the congressional record citing a staggering 135 million dead due to communist regimes. More people have died at the hands of Marxist governments in the last century than all centuries combined. And these are the successful ones. How do we get to a place where the younger voting population became convinced that communism, or as it's been rebranded, democratic socialism, is so great? What if I told you it wasn't by accident, it was by design? And the first step to accomplish their task was to detach culture from its moral anchors. Since the 1960s, America has witnessed a seismic cultural shift. The traditional family, once the cornerstone, is under siege. The question is, who's laying the siege and why? From Norman Rockwell's idyllic America to Hugh Hefner's hedonistic vision, the transformation is stark.
I don't even recognize our country any longer.
Our culture has gone from marriage is between a man and a woman to don't misgender me.
You're gonna give me money back.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here. And you're watching out.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to.
But what's the end game for this secondary sexual revolution? The left, historically a champion of workers and the underprivileged, now seems to be marching to a different drumbeat. Read the 2020 Democratic Party platform, which is more in line with Brave New World than it is the United States of America. But is this world a utopia or a rehash of 20th century communism? Lenin's term useful idiots comes to mind, but are they unwitting pawns or willing participants? Capitalism versus socialism. This debate is as old as it is heated. The free enterprise system, despite its many flaws, has lifted more people out of poverty than any other economic system. Yet the left persists with a socialist agenda. Why? Is it ignorance of history, or is there something more insidious at play? In 1992, Curtis Bowers, you've got to check out his documentaries Agenda 1 and Agenda 2, he sat in a meeting where the split in the Communist Party USA was laid bare. When the Berlin Wall fell, they knew they had lost and needed to regroup. Their strategies were clear: infiltrate institutions, promote government over family, and support movements that create discontent. This wasn't conspiracy theory, it was strategy. Cleon Skousen's The Naked Communist laid out 45 goals of communism back in 1958. Fast forward to today, and it's as if their checklist is being ticked off one by one. But how many Americans are aware of this? Communism didn't die with the Berlin Wall, a blow to goal number 8 from Skousen's list. It just got a rebrand. Progressive has become a catch-all term that includes socialist and communist ideologies. But what does that progression really mean for America? The political spectrum is stretching, with the far left encompassing socialism and communism, greater and greater government control, and the far right representing anarchy, no government control at all. Both parties have shifted left, but have the Democrats joined the Marxist radicals? Let's look at the evidence. Communism is evil. The Black Book of Communism details the atrocities committed under communist regimes in the 20th century. One of the atrocities testified to was the Cultural Revolution in China, which lasted from 1966 to 1976. Initiated by Mao Zedong, It aimed to preserve true communist ideology by purging remnants of capitalist and traditional elements from Chinese society. This led to a decade of social and political upheaval characterized by violent class struggle, widespread destruction of cultural artifacts, and a massive upheaval in Chinese society, resulting in millions of deaths and the persecution of a significant portion of the population. The Black Book of Communism details that the death toll attributable to communist regimes amounts to an estimated 94 million people, a number that includes victims of executions, man-made famines, and forced labor gulags, among other causes. The book's overarching assertion is that these deaths were not merely excesses or abuses of the communist ideal, but rather direct consequences of the application of communist ideology. When communism is successful, genocide is the result. This isn't just a bug of communism, but a feature. I'm not sharing a cautionary tale, this is real history. Goal number 16 used technical decision of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming that activities violate civil rights. This strategy was founded and influenced by the Fabian Society, founded in 1884 in London. It was a socialist organization that aimed to advance the principles of democratic socialism via progressive efforts in democracies, rather than by revolutionary overthrow and bloodshed. Health, education, and housing were their focus in the UK, and they transformed society through covert political and legal means, as opposed to outright overthrow. One of their main concerns? Social justice. The society sought to achieve social justice by promoting equal opportunities and reducing or eliminating social and economic inequalities through redistributive measures.
I steal from the rich and give to the needy.
Takes away percentage.
But I'm not greedy.
Like progressive taxation and welfare programs. So successful were their infiltrations that their strategies have been duplicated all over the world. They've influenced policies and leaders alike with their symbol, the wolf in sheep's clothing, being a stark reminder of their methods. The Frankfurt School and cultural Marxism. The Frankfurt School was founded in 1923 and is known as a school of sociology and critical philosophy. Their fingerprints are on the degradation of cultural standards. This school is the origin of critical theory. You may know it better as CRT. From Herbert Marcuse to Theodor Adorno, their writings have been a blueprint for cultural upheaval and class struggle. Antonio Gramsci's cultural hegemony. His prison notebooks speak of a long march through the culture. He was against the schools, churches, and media and sought their reformation to be harnessed for freeing people from the capitalistic authoritarians. Today, we see his ideas reflected in the push for political correctness, the destruction of capitalism, and the erosion of traditional values. Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. His tactics of division and community agitation are mirrored in today's political climate. Check out our recent video on his influence on Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Alinsky's influence on modern political figures is well recorded, with many openly acknowledging his impact on their strategies. The Cloward-Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activist Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. Their strategy was detailed in an article titled The Weight of the Poor, a strategy to end poverty, published in the leftist magazine The Nation. Their strategy to overload the welfare systems is not just theoretical. Their stated goal was to overwhelm the welfare system, to force a collapse and institute a universal basic income. We've seen attempts at this in various forms, from welfare reform debates to immigration policy discussions. They want everyone dependent on the government.
I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Number 11, promote the UN as the only hope for mankind. If its charter is rewritten, demand that it be set up as a one-world government with its own independent armed forces. One of the ways they've been moving towards this goal is through open borders and its relationship to government dependence. The correlation between open borders and government dependence is not just speculative. Studies like those from the Center for Immigration Studies show the impact of these policies on American society. Open borders has had negative consequences, such as undercutting American workers, straining social welfare systems, and compromising national security.
What's the percentage increase of Chinese nationals who crossed the border this year, Mr. Secretary? Let's just focus on maybe the Rio Grande Valley sector.
The number of...
Do you know how much?
Over the past. I don't have the precise percentage.
I do. It's 900% just in the Rio Grande Valley sector. Are any of these people who came in this bus, these Chinese nationals, members of the Chinese Communist Party?
Economic strain. Democrats who support open borders believe, as the Cloward-Piven strategy held, that overwhelming the welfare state will lead to a seismic change in their favor: universal basic income, diluting national sovereignty. Marxism benefits from open borders through the dilution of national sovereignty, as this could lead to a restructuring of political power that aligns with internationalist and socialist principles. Think UN and the World Economic Forum. By changing the demographic makeup of a country, open borders could lead to a new social dynamic that may be more conducive to Marxist ideas, particularly if new arrivals support leftist policies. The Center for Immigration Studies holds that open borders are part of a broader agenda by some political groups to reshape demographic balances and political power structures within the United States. As we wrap up this first part of our series, we're left to ponder how deep the roots of Marxism go within the Democratic Party. Has it been a subtle transformation or a deliberate hijacking? Join us in the next episode as we continue to unravel this intricate narrative, exploring the modern implications and shifts in the political landscape. Remember, understanding our past is crucial to navigating our future.